What's up YouTube? Cole here. I've been using the GameSense Radar for about 5 days now, and I think it's appropriate that I make a quick review on it because I once again didn't see much coverage on it. The GameSense Radar is a pretty interesting pad to hit the market just now, and it's been getting a little bit of discussion. It is a humidity resistant control pad. Now I don't know if there's other humidity resistant control pads out there that I'm just not informed enough to know about aside from the Artisan Zero, but this is only like 25-30 bucks. So better than paying 90 for an Artisan Zero, but they have come to the US with certain retailers, so either way I still think it's a very competitive option, but I'll be getting into that. We'll make this quick and sweet. Let's jump into the specs of it. The size, 450 by 450. It's just a box. Just take a cube, slap it on your desk, and that's the GameSense Radar. It has a pretty cheesy logo on it. I mean, it's done its job, and I've gotten used to it. If I were to say anything, why not have more real estate going on the x-axis? I think there's like very few scenarios in which you'll need to like track or flick all the way up, extending your arm using your entire mouse pad. You know, if you're watching GameSense, a little bit more X would be amazing with this pad. Moving on, it has double stitched edges. No issue for me personally. They're not super highly raised. Coming from an Artisan Zero though, they're pretty obvious in my normal use. I found myself adjusting the pad a little bit so that way my forearm would lay comfortably while moving my mouse left and right. If you're sensitive to it though, unfortunate man, I think you might want to look elsewhere because they're decently obvious. They're very soft though, they're not like scratchy. The rubber base beneath it, it reminds me of the rubber base on like the QCK, but with a different design. It's very based. Yeah, it does its job, man. Like seriously, I could like it will not move, at least on my desk. I don't know if you might have a glossy desk, it might like slide off, but I highly doubt it. The surface is a non-coated, highly durable microfiber cloth. That's what they unironically said on their website. It feels to me very, very close to the GSR surface, like the normal Black GSR mud pad. It kind of grips the skin just like the GSR did for me. It's very soft. It's slightly less softer than the GSR SE though. The SE didn't grip my skin much like this one does. I can't speak for the build quality of the surface itself though, as I've only used it for about 5 days, but I will be washing it properly soon, so I'll see if it absolutely just explodes or feels like a different mouse pad. I might comment about that in the description or the comments. A quick comment, maybe I should do a little guide on how to properly wash a mouse pad because I've seen some crazy stuff on YouTube, bro. Putting the washer detergent from, was that one brand, Tide, just dumping it onto the mouse pad and like scrubbing the heck out of it. You know, like you never want to do that to a mouse pad, but I don't know, quick comment there. Let's talk about the main draw to this mouse pad, at least for me. It is humidity resistant. The worst days gave me what felt like maybe the tiniest 5-10% increase of resistance and static friction on the startup. It has been exponentially better and more consistent with micro flicks and adjustments than the GSR SE or the Gigantus. They did pretty darn good with the humidity resistance on this. So next thing we talk about, comparing it to other pads that I've either tried or that I have right now in my possession. Quick disclaimer, this is all my personal experience and opinion. You guys can have your own different opinion than I do, so take that with a grain of salt. First off is the Artisan Zero. Okay, to an Artisan Zero soft, because this is soft, the Radar's humidity resistance, of course, isn't as good as the Zero's practical immunity to humidity. But it's so close and you'll just be able to tell when it's being affected during your normal play. If you've ever used an Artisan pad, I can tell you I still wasn't bothered by the Radar. It has a faster glide and a nice bump to stopping power in comparison to the Zero on flicks, but much more static friction on controlled stop and go scenarios, like when switching targets than having to track them. This bump in resistance could either be a benefit for you when you're tracking, or it could feel just like another hurdle you have to mentally prepare yourself that you're going to need to account for before flicking to the target. I actually crushed my switch track score on my Artisan 0 while I was testing the radar for it, and I had gotten really frustrated about the extra effort. But still, I can't deny it, the lovely flicks I've gotten back for using the radar over the 0. I didn't lose my flicks entirely with the 0, it's just that level of confidence to just throw your arm and then want to stop on a dime. I have not been feeling that on the soft. I don't feel that amount of confidence with a 60-gram mouse. So I do have an extra soft actually coming in the mail. Hopefully that fixes it. We'll see about that. So next up is the GSR SE. First, without the coating. This is faster and more consistent with micro adjustments. The SE without coating or worn down literally starts to become like mush and mud. The radar has a lower overall speed while tracking and less stopping power than an uncoated SE. The radar has less static friction as well. To comment on the SE with coating, it's just been too long for me to fully remember for you guys. I would probably say slower for sure, but no official comment on that in its comparison. The radar is way more consistent with humidity. It's insane how humidity affected the GSR SE just naturally is. It's pretty sad. Comparing it to the GSR, now I don't have my normal Black GSR. I've recently sold it because it's just not what I'm looking for. I'm starting to get pads that have no coating, and I don't want it to be affected by humidity because just consistency reasons. From what I distinctly remember, it's a much faster glide when tracking with less static friction required to do micro adjustments, but less stopping power though. Again, way more consistent against humidity compared to the GSR, but the durability of the GSR surface is still just as good compared to the radar so far from what I've used. Okay, now comparing the radar to the Razer Gigantus V2, it has a slightly slower glide and micro adjust resistance, and it's very similar in stopping power, if not the same. Reviewers kind of commented on how much smoother it is as well. Again, way more consistent against humidity. I actually remember playing Hyperscape when I bought the Gigantus, and when your hand gets hot after playing for a while, like an hour or two, it was all over for my micro adjustments, but not nearly the same with this pad, the radar. Can't comment on the Gigantus' surface and its durability as I recently sold mine. It had some weird tracking issues with my particular copy. I would have never sold it. It was one of the best pads I ever used, and that's why I think I'm really resonating with the radar. So last question, is the GameSense Radar worth it? Again, yes, another good product I've tried so far. I got it on sale for $25, and let's say this surface lasts me about 6 months minimum before it kind of starts to change. I could still squeeze more time in it before I buy another, and by that time, another 25 or 30 bucks even hurt my wallet, assuming that I liked it that much. Now, considering an Artisan surface starts to change around the 12-month mark minimum, and their pads are about like 60 bucks, it's worth it. The humidity resistance and coating free surface immediately trumps any cloth pad, in my personal opinion, if you're trying to improve and be consistent. If you're getting a coated cloth pad like the G640, the GSR SE, or even a normal cloth pad like the QCK, give this one a shot and stop relying on a constantly changing surface that's affected by humidity. I feel like you'll learn a lot about how your pad affects your aim from this pad if you've never bought a humidity resistant pad before like an Artisan. So yeah, that's my quick review on the GameSense Radar. It's kind of like a direct upgrade to a QCK or like a premium Gigantus V2. I mean, you could call it maybe a poor man's Artisan, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll put some gameplay on screen. Have a nice one, guys.